Chambers left a lot to be desired last year. Hopefully for Chargers fans, he turns that around. Picking up Chris Chambers was huge for San Diego, and it helped. Who's their other guy? Vincent Jackson. It helped him kind of, kind of be effective. Before, he was the only receiver they had in San Diego, is Vincent Jackson, and he went into the season with some high expectations. But when you're the only receiver besides the tight end, teams can shut you down, especially if you're only in your he was in like his third season. Especially if you're still kind of learning things. Yeah, he was only in his second or third year or something. So, Chris Chambers was a huge addition. Antonio Gates was fighting some injuries at the end of last year. All of them were, really. Gates was fighting injuries. Tomlinson, Rivers, all these guys were. So, assuming they all bounce back, I see no reason why the Chargers can't be a top 10, maybe even top 5 team. I don't know if they're number 3. I do think that Tomlinson's numbers will go down a little bit from last season. And if you didn't notice, they last season they went down from the season before. But you had to have noticed because the season before he set, records. And last season, LT had a nice year. But he's getting older. He is getting older. Much older. And defenses can just key in on LT and try to make Phillip Rivers beat them because Rivers looked shaky last season. So, you heard it here. I don't think LT is going to have that big. Not a super huge year. Just a little less. A little less statistically than he had last year. So Chargers are number 3 going into the season, according to ESPN. I like him more at about, 6, 7, right in there. Now they have Dallas at number 4. And, you have to wonder. You got another guy, another star getting a year older. T.O. is another year older. To his credit, he hasn't looked like he's lost a step at all ever in his career, but it's bound to happen. All right, eventually it's bound to happen. And after T.O., their receivers are shaky. Pat Creighton, I don't trust Pat Creighton at all. They do have Jason Witten, one of the top tight ends in the game, and they got rid of Julius Jones to run with Marion Barber, and then they drafted Felix Jones. All right, another running back who will get some touches, who will immediately figure into the offensive game plan. Again, I don't know. The Cowboys, a lot of question mark. Tony Romo, what is he ever gonna make that step? Is he ever gonna just go ahead and put himself in the next level? Is he ever gonna shake the starts off hot and then fizzles out at the end? Is he? I'm waiting to see what Tony Romo, what he's going to be. The kind of quarterback he's going to be. We don't really know. We don't really have a gauge on that yet. We've seen great things from Tony Romo. We've also seen very, very Rex Grossman-like performances from Romo. So we'll see. But Cowboys number 4, I don't know. But then again, if they're not, I guess if I'm saying these teams don't deserve to be there, I need to find a replacement. So I tell you what, the number 5 team in the power rankings is Jacksonville. All right, the Jaguars. I would like to move Jacksonville up to number 3. Honestly, I think they're that good. All right, it's just, they play in the same division as the Colts. Kind of hard to stand out playing alongside the Colts, but you know what? Jacksonville was 11-5 last season with no wide receivers, and a guy getting his very first year under center starting quarterback David Garrard, who, by the way, turned the ball over negative once. It just didn't make any sense. It was amazing how well this guy protected the ball. And he didn't even have a receiver. And they brought one to town. Who did they get? Jaguars brought somebody to town. They have a receiver now. I forget who it is. Yeah, let me find it out. I'm right here on the Jacksonville page. They brought in Jerry Porter. That's right. They brought in Jerry Porter, former Raider. All right. Who's a really good receiver. He kind of slipped into obscurity in Oakland because nobody can be good in Oakland. I mean, look what happened. Randy Moss was in Oakland for 2 seasons. Just 2 absolutely forgettable seasons. Just terrible years. What happens? He goes to a place with a real quarterback and a real offense, and he breaks records. So you can't look at Jerry Porter's numbers from Oakland and say he's not. No, he can't play. Like, no, look at some. Look at numbers from before the last couple of years. Jerry Porter's a good receiver. David Garrard's going to like throwing him the ball, and he'll be a nice little pickup, a nice little steal, kind of late in the draft, in your fantasy draft. And nobody's going to be thinking Jerry Porter. He might end up being just a viable #1 option. David Garrard's a real deal at quarterback. I'm telling you, the real deal. And Jacksonville had the #1 rushing attack in the league last year with old Freddie Taylor and Jones Drew. And their defense is, honestly, second to none. Their defense is punishing. So I like Jacksonville #3. I think Patriots and Colts are almost interchangeable with the 1 and 2, and I think Jacksonville's #3, which is going to be hard for the Colts. It's going to be hard for the Colts because Jacksonville's going to be threatening to win the division. Sean